Hey everybody, this is that German guy Josh Runquist, and I'm here with Andrew from the legendary Metal Assault, who is actually on tour with Night Demon, helping those guys out here in Minneapolis, Minnesota at a bar I've never been to before, Palmer's. And you guys will be, Night Demon will be playing in just a few hours from now. How's it going tonight?
Good, man. It's good to finally meet you. I appreciate all you do for metal, and I've been following your stuff, so it's good to do an interview with you. Yeah, man, it's been good. This tour, we've been all over the country. We've been already on this tour for 7.5 weeks, and we have 3 more weeks to go. Kind of in the home stretch right now, going through Wisconsin, Minneapolis, and then up through Iowa and Denver and the Northwest and back to the West Coast. And yeah, this place is really interesting. It's a weird setup, but we'll see how it goes. Every night is so different for us. It's nothing surprises anymore in that sense. It's sometimes we are the second out of 5 bands, and sometimes we're the headliner. It's because we mostly book this tour on our own. So it's all kinds of different shows, bigger shows, smaller shows. So it's all good. It should be fun tonight. The Facebook event looks good, looks promising. So good to be here, man.
Well, likewise. I'm so happy to finally be able to see Night Demon. I know ever since you've been touring with Night Demon, I've been waiting for a show in Minnesota, but it's always been at least 8-9 hours away from me, and it's just I know there's no way I could pull that off during the work week. So I'm glad you guys are able to make it out, and I'm glad I'm actually able to be here with you tonight because you are one of the inspirations for me getting into what I'm doing here with the radio show and doing interviews with bands coming to town and everything, and it's a great honor on my behalf as well.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, man. I don't think I could hear a bigger compliment than to hear that somebody's doing what they're doing because of me. It's that's awesome, man. I'm glad to be of help.
Oh, not a problem.
Yeah.
So getting into Metal Assault, how did that all come about?
Basically I started going to shows basically from 2007 onwards, and I just had a habit of documenting everything via a review of the show on various forums and whatever used to exist back then. There were these threads, there was MySpace, and there was these forums that I used to write on. And then I wrote for a site called Full Metal Rock for about 6 months. That site was based in Vegas, but they had writers out in LA. And then it just kept growing, and I just thought I should have my own site, and do it my way. So that's how I started Metal Assault, February 2010. It's been 5.5 years, and it's just been a lot of hard work, and it's a constant struggle, especially in a city like LA, financially especially. But it's all worth it because that living there just allows me to do this on a daily basis, literally. So it's been going good, man. I'm happy with where it's at, but I have plenty of ambitions for it too, looking ahead too.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see that it is based out of LA, because there's pretty much a show every single night, if not multiple shows going on one night.
Yeah, that is a big problem there, actually. A good problem to have, but I have to decide what show to go to, especially on Fridays, Saturdays, the good nights of the week. There's always at least 3, even 4 or 5 shows to pick from. So, that's always what LA brings, in terms of the scene there.
Yeah, it's very rare for there to be 2 shows going on here at once. I know coming up in September, Soulfly and Soilwork are playing the same night as Sanctuary, but that's pretty much the only major one I've even seen this year.
Yeah, well, that sucks for Sanctuary, to be honest with you.
It does. They're playing right down there at the Triple Rock, and then Soilwork and Soulfly are playing at a place called the Skyway Theater, which can hold a few thousand people.
Right.
So yeah. So hopefully that'll still be a good turnout, because I'm going to that show.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Cool.
One thing that I really do love about Metal Assault is I usually don't swear in my interviews, but it's you give no bullshit when you're doing your reviews. You were 100% completely honest about that. And I really do appreciate your style of doing that.
Well, I'm glad you like it, man. It wasn't always like that. I guess you go through a journey as a journalist and as a writer where you just start getting more and more to the point and honest and fearless. It's when you start out, you're just happy to get into shows for free. So you're just, whoever gets you in for free, whatever band it is, you just give them a good review regardless of however the show was. Even when I look back at the reviews I wrote for the bands that I gave negative reviews to of late, it's funny. I gave the same bands good reviews, a few years ago. So it's just a natural journey, but it's still, I mean, I see a lot of writers still on the same level, like for a number of years. They just keep doing the same thing. So it's like you have to allow yourself to progress in that sense. And I think I can say like that I have been able to do that. So I'm glad you're enjoying my writings.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
yeah.
I can see how some people would be upset about it, but to me it's like, as a musician and someone who also does this, I can see it from the point of view, it's like you're not trying to knock the band in any way, but you're like, if anything, it's like creative criticism. It's just like what they could improve on if they decide to look at it that way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is always constructive. Even if I'm making fun of the band, they should read it and say, maybe this guy has a point. Like, maybe if we don't do it next time, he wouldn't make fun of us or something like that. I mean, I make fun of them for entertainment purposes, for the enjoyment of readers, because, that's how they would like take notice of the review. If it was just totally like seriously negative, then that wouldn't really read well, I wouldn't think, I mean, at least that's what I think as a reader. So, it's all constructive criticism, for any band of any level. And I'm especially harder on the bigger bands because they charge more money for their tickets, so I expect a better show from them. It's as simple as that,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, when you look at the price tonight for Night Demon compared to, say, Motley Crue coming up in a couple months, there's a higher level that you would expect, paying that X amount of money to go see Motley Crue at a giant stadium. It's like you want people to be able to get their money's worth, not have a half-assed performance. Yeah,
especially from the older bands. I mean, a lot of their fanboys and fangirls just give them slack because they're old, but they're charging more money now than they were when they were younger too. So you have to take that into account. So.
Yeah, the only excuse I can ever usually find is the vocals, like because of age, not being able to hit the highs or lows.
Yeah.
But like, for guitar and bass and drums or whatever else, there's no excuse not to be able to still do that until you stop playing music.
Yeah, exactly. And even with vocalists, I mean, as I said recently in a review that I wrote of Dawkins, I listed at least like 20 singers that are above 60 years old and are still doing good, So it's possible. It's just a matter of how much you want to do it and how much of a show you want to present to the fans, That's all it's all about,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So switching gears a little bit, how did you get hooked up with Night Demon?
Well, it's basically because of what I do for Metal Assault. I mean, I went to see them. They were opening for Cauldron at a show in LA 2 years ago, and I reviewed them. And Jarvis, the singer and bassist, he hit me up and thanked me for the review, sent me a little care package, and then I reviewed them a few more times and just kind of kept in touch with them. So it just grew from there, and then I did their social media for like about 6 months. And then when they were going, readying themselves to go out with Raven for that 2-month North American tour last year, they asked me. And at that point, I didn't even think about it, but because, I always had that desire to kind of explore further, go beyond LA and see the scene in the rest of the country. So I immediately said yes. But on that tour, I was just doing merch, and my involvement has just grown off of that. Like now I'm doing the lights, and I'm the mascot, and I do tour managing, and I'm still doing the merch. So it's cool.
And you're still doing some work with Metal Assault as well on tour.
Yeah, luckily on this tour I've been able to do a better job at that. I mean, I was pretty terrible with it on the last 2 tours. I couldn't do anything at all except for the tour blog. But this time I've been able to do quite a few album reviews because I don't know why I didn't think of it earlier. It's like I could always listen to albums when I'm on the road, It's like there's so much time. What else are you going to do in the van, like when you're traveling between shows? So just been doing my music research and writing reviews. And there's a couple of people back home too who submit show reviews and big photos and all that stuff. But I mean, I think people really enjoy my show reviews more than anything. So it's still not the same to be doing it from the road as it is when I'm in LA. So that's for sure,
But it's definitely cool to see, though, because, it's like all these bands are going out on tour that you're going to see in LA, and now you're doing what those bands are doing and going across the country and up in Canada as well.
Yeah, it's like it definitely makes you a better journalist because you see so much more, and like you see what the bands are experiencing, so that gives you more like kind of material in terms of preparing questions for interviews and even while reviewing their music and everything. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So since it is right around the halfway point of 2015, do you have any best and worst as far as like albums or shows that you've seen so far this year?
Yeah, actually, I'll be working on my best of list, the mid-year best of list. But I mean, off the top of my head, the new Paradise Lost has really been dominating my thoughts, on this tour. I've been listening to it a lot, and the new Armored Saint, and the new Enforcer. There's quite a few. I mean, it's going to be hard to make that list, but I'll come up with like a top 15 or something, I think, at the end of this month. And as far as the worst albums, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I don't think there's anything I could think of right now, but I'm sure there are. What do you say are the bad ones that you've heard?
Honestly, the only one that kind of sticks to my mind right now is the new solo album for Bill Ward.
I haven't even heard that, man.
Yeah, it's he takes over on lead vocals and drums, and I understand why he was not the lead vocalist of Black Sabbath at any point in time.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't even know about that one, but I think there's been a couple of disappointing ones. I didn't like the UFO album. I didn't like Black Star Riders. I think those Black Star Riders is definitely an overrated band, in my opinion. And all these like that metal show and all that stuff is like kind of made them bigger than they should be, but whatever. So, yeah.
But there is people like us that do try to focus on the bands that deserve attention.
Yeah.
I mean, that metal show can get away with so much on VH1 Classic.
Right.
But, if you go to the internet, you will be able to find the bands that you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's pretty much my focus is newer bands. I mean, people keep saying, and I'm so increasingly getting tired of hearing that there's no new bands anymore, no good new bands anymore, but it's definitely not true. I mean, I listen to mostly just new bands, for the most part. And there's enough good music, good new music out there, these days. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've always noticed with you I think it'd be fair to say it's your favorite, more of the traditional style metal.
Yeah.
What drew you to that?
Iron Maiden, I have to say. I mean, they were the first ever band that I saw live. They were the first metal band that I listened to at home, on CD and stuff. So that's pretty much what kind of drew me to that whole subgenre of traditional new wave British heavy metal. But I'm very open-minded, though. I'm not one of those who would just dismiss bands with growling vocals because it's not clean sung and it's not traditional. I mean, because I think a lot of people miss out on good music just because of those things. Even it goes vice versa as well, where just death metal fans don't listen to the cleaner singing bands. I mean, there's good in both kinds. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I try to do that as well. It's like, if you just listen to one style of metal, you're going to get so sick of it after a while.
Yeah.
And if you go out there and explore the different genres that are out there, you'll be able to find something good in almost every genre.
Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, metalheads do get kind of, insulted for being narrow-minded or judgmental or whatever. But I think metalheads can be very open-minded. I mean, artists like Author and Punisher and like Hell and Money, which are not even remotely metal, have been embraced by the metal community. They open for metal bands and all that. Like Author and Punisher, Phil Anselmo produced his new album, and he's on housecore. So it's just an example. It's like, metalheads are intelligent.
I definitely think so. I mean, no matter like how simple or how intricate like the music can even get into, not just the fans but the bands themselves.
Yeah.
It's like you can hear how intelligent it is, even if it is simple or intricate.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what are your guys' plans after this current tour?
Night Demons plans?
Yeah.
Well, we'll be home for 2 months. I mean, and they have like a 10-day tour in Mexico, which I don't think I'll be going on that one, simply because of logistics and expenses. It's
sure.
like I think it'll be just the 3 of them on that one. And after that, I don't think there's any more touring plans. There might be a couple of one-off festivals. I think we're already confirmed for Southwest Terror Fest in Arizona with a bunch of stoner doom bands. So that's going to be interesting. I mean, we're trying to break into other scenes as well, not just the grandpa heavy metal, the older traditional heavy metal scene. It's like that stuff is huge right now, stoner doom. So we'll be doing it's like a 4-day thing, and we'll be sharing the stage with the bands like Demon Lung and Acid King. So it should be fun.
Nice.
And then there's a couple of other U.S. festivals that are yet to be announced, but that's pretty much it for now. And I don't think there'll be any touring for the rest of the year, like extensive touring at least. But the band already wrote a new song on this tour when we had some downtime. So they'll be working on a new album after this tour. So I think that'll be the main focus, and that'll probably be ready like early next year or something.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
So with that said, would you continue to keep working with Night Demon on tour?
Yeah, I mean, as long as they want me, you know. I think a lot of the band's hardcore fans say that I'm kind of part of the band. I mean, you know, it's always good to hear that. And you know, on this tour we're selling tour programs, so that has photos of me in the costume, and a lot of people ask me to sign that. So it's cool. I mean, I think so. You know, at least for the longer tours, the U.S. tours, you know, I think I'll be part of those tours for sure.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
And with Metal Assault, is there anything else to look forward to in recent weeks for Metal Assault?
Oh, you mean coming up?
Yeah, coming up.
Just the same as always. I mean, I'll just go back and resume my nightly, you know, show review cycle. Just, you know, going to all the shows, and you know, I mean, but at the same time, I'm thinking of doing something bigger with the site too, because I think it should like reach out to more people. Like, it should make more money. You know, it's not, in that sense, it's not where it should be, in my opinion. So, you know, I'll be thinking about ways to kind of do all that. But yeah, other than that, like, you know, same as always.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see you keeping at it with Night Demon, and of course with Metal Assault.
Yeah.
And I just hope for nothing for the best for you and the band and everyone involved. It's so great to be able to see other people like me doing what I do and just reaching out to a great metal fan base like that.
Thanks a lot, man. I mean, I'm glad like we were able to work together. You know, it's not a competition. The scene is too small for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, even just logistics. I mean, Minnesota is so much different than LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but again, just like it's a tremendous honor to be able to hang out with you, do this interview, and of course see you on stage in a few hours as well.
Yeah, man, it should be fun. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Cool.
Before we wrap things up, is there anything else that you'd like to bring up that I haven't brought up yet?
I think you pretty much covered everything. You know, it's like, yeah. I would just encourage people to check out new music more than anything else, and support bands, go to shows. You know, yeah.
Definitely, that's the way to do it. Once again, one more time, thank you very much for doing this interview. And of course, have a great rest of the tour and a great time back in LA when you start back doing shows.
My pleasure, man. All the best to you, too.
Not a problem.
Cool.
Once again, this was Andrew from Metal Assault. Make sure to check out Metal Assault on all your favorite social media sites.
And
of course,
metalsalt.com, of course. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And this is that drummer guy, Josh Ronquist. Thank you.